I truly believe that my dad did the best that he could do. His dad did the best that he could do, but it's our job to leave the next generation better than we found them. So it's my job to make sure that 7 is way better than me. Like, he starts reading earlier. He starts learning the things that I learned later in life. He starts learning at an early age so that he can be way better than me. Like, I wish, like, I mean, that's just that. And that's what it's about for me. And then also too, just knowing that the world is living no days off. Like, if I know that there's someone around the world, even if it's just one person in India or just one person that knows about no days off and is living that mindset and is applying it and becoming a better version of themselves every single day because of a podcast they listen to, or a shirt they bought, or a can they drank, or just something that domino effect occurs, then one of my favorite movies is Pay It Forward. And that's when I saw that movie, I was like, I want to do something like that. Like, I want to do something that has a impact that on the world, like on the world. And that's what drives me, is that I don't want to just be the best or make a lot of money or anything. No, I want a worldwide motto, that people can apply to their lives. That's not about money. That's about mindset. That's about a decision, and that's helping people. And that's exactly what you're doing. So it's very relatable.
I love that. I have this quote that I learned from my mentor. He said, "You die twice in this lifetime. So the first time you die is when you physically die and you're buried." He said the second time you die is the last time your name is mentioned. So he says, how long is your name going to be mentioned after you die? Is it going to be something that's just mentioned for a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months, or is it something that's going to live forever? And that was something that really stuck with me. I'm like, yo, my name is going to live forever. Like, that's the kind of impact I want to leave, similar to you, my kids, and, that somebody watches a podcast, reads my book, reads my journal, something that they know that years from now, years after my time is gone, like, I strove to be the best that I could be. And I'm encouraging and inspiring with my story and with my success and with everything that we was able to do for people to become the best versions of themselves. So I love that we're on the same mindset when it comes to the legacy of the impact and everything, man. That's awesome, man. I'm proud of you, bro, for real. For real. No one hasn't told you, dog, like, this is amazing what you've done. You're an inspiration for me, and because of people like you, I know I got to keep going. I got to keep showing up. There is no days off. There is no excuses. You got to be the best version of yourself, bro. So I appreciate you being the example for us.
Thank you,
man. That's a lot.
Appreciate you.
Bro, I know you got a lot going on. So how do you balance it all? Work, business, family, being a dad, faith. Like, talk a little bit about how you do that on a larger scale, because you're doing it at a high level, CEO, founder of all these amazing brands. How do you find the balance and all of that stuff to keep everybody happy and everything satisfied?
I think one of the main ways I do it, and I'm telling now, if you're a father, I think one of the best things you can do is wake up early.
Wake up early.
Like, the earlier the better. So my alarm goes off at 3:50 every morning because I want to make sure that I'm up by 4. And the reason, and is it fun? No. Do I like it? No. I do not like waking up early. Like,
4 a.m. is crazy.
It's crazy. I know it's crazy.
I love it.
Actually, like, yes, it's crazy. I mean, that's the only that's the only way to say it. Of course it's crazy. But I'm telling you, the things that I get done from 4 a.m. till 7 a.m., it's priceless. Like, it's priceless, for me, because I'm setting myself up to be a better version of me, to then go be a dad and be a father and be a husband and be a boss and leader. I hate the word boss, but you know what I'm saying? Be the CEO, be the founder, be all these things that people need me to be. If you are not pouring into your cup and you're trying to lead in an empty cup, you're not going to last. You're going to get burned out. You're going to get moody. You're going to be, and I always say, like, when you feel good, then you tend to respond instead of react.
That's true.
Like, when we don't feel good is when we react and we snap. And when you're in a bad mood, or you're grumpy, or you're tired, or you didn't get your lift in, you didn't get your run in, you didn't get your cold plunge, you didn't get your sun. Most of the time, you're not preparing yourself for when life happens. When there's chaos and there's almost a fire I have to put out every single day, whether it's, an emotional fire with our employees, some kind of HR situation, or whether it's a pipe burst, or whether it's this, this bill wasn't paid, or what. There's always something. There's always something. So I would say the number one thing I do is I make sure that I take care of me first and foremost in the beginning of the day. And I just get that out of the way. So you're a routine guy. I'm a routine guy. It's in our routines that form the responses that we have later. It really is. And so that's to me is like my number one thing. And then obviously also whenever I have extra time. So extra time is probably not whenever I'm available, then I try to make sure that I'm available for my family. So if I have downtime, I'll hit up my wife. Hey, do you want me to pick up Seven from school today? And one of my routines too is I take him to school every day. Okay. I love doing that. So I get my stuff done here, and then I jet back home at 7:30, 7:45, and then I take him to school every day because it's just important. It helps my wife, obviously, because we have a newborn too. Of course. And then obviously it's a great, just, you're being present. You're being present with your son, and eventually he'll turn in. He talks a lot, but we're not in that conversation stage yet, but eventually it'll turn into some fun conversations with him. And we do like little dance parties sometimes, or music parties, or whatever now. But I think that's important. So if I don't have meetings, then I'm taking him to jiu-jitsu. I'm just giving my wife breaks when it comes to that. And then when you're home, be intentional. So when you're home, try not, and again, and I say this very loosely because of course my wife will listen to this and be laughing, but.
All right, guys, let's get the call started. We are back. Welcome back to Mornings with Nano. We are here on the YouTube edition. I appreciate you guys so much for making it a priority to be on this morning call. Please take this time as well to send this out to a friend, a family member, share the link with them. Tell them, I need you to be on this call. I need you to be more aware of your time and how you're going to use it more wisely and just moving with more urgency. If there's anybody that that needs to move with more urgency, whether it's somebody in your family, whether it's your significant other, whether it's your coworker, whether it's someone on your team, tell them, I need you to hop on this call and check it out, because today we're going to be talking about urgency versus procrastination. And I'm very excited and I'm looking forward to today's session because I know how powerful this session can be to so many of us, guys. So welcome to Mornings with Nano. I'm your host. My name is Nano Torres, and I'm super excited to be doing this session with all of you guys this morning because every time I get a chance to do a call, I'm always grateful. I always tell people that doing these calls helps me serve my purpose. It helps fulfill me. It helps me fill me up. And recently, just doing these calls, I love them. I was talking to somebody the other day about it, and they were like, bro, like, you do these calls every day, right? And I'm like, yeah. He was like, how do you do it every day? I'm like, because at this point, it's not even work anymore. It's a passion. It's a love. It's not something that I dread to do. I actually love to do it, right? So, for me, this has been, how people work 9 to 5 and they do it every day, for years and years and years. This is my 9 to 10 or 10 to 11, right? Because I really do these calls at this time. So I only get an hour to do it, but this is my job. This is my work. This is what I get to do every single day. And I'm blessed and grateful that I have an amazing audience, and we have hundreds of people that jump on every single morning, Tuesdays and Thursdays at this time. And we got a lot of subscribers and everything. So it just really is beautiful what we're creating here. And I'm extremely excited for it. Real quick, before we get the call started, though, where is everybody calling in from this morning? It's April 3rd. It's a Thursday. What city, what country is everybody calling in from? I kind of want to get an idea who we got on the call, because I know sometimes we have people from all over the world. So I kind of want to see where we at today. We got Cali in the building. We got Dallas, Atlanta. We got Miami here. More Cali, more Dallas. Let's go. Palenque, Mexico. I love that. Never heard of that place. Sounds cool, though. Jackson, Florida. Marco Island, Florida. We got New Brunswick, Canada. We got more Florida. Chokolosky Island, Florida. Wow, that's a new one for sure. I see San Diego, my brother New York in the building. What's goody, bro? We got AZ. I see some Richmond, Fort Worth, Contown. I'm hoping that's Dallas. I see Sweden is in the building as well. I got some CT, some Michigan. London is in the building. Netherlands in the building. There we go. My Europe people showing up. Guam is in the building today. Philadelphia, Toronto's in the building. We got India in the building as well. Long Island. We got Jersey. We got more AZ over here. That's awesome, guys. We really got people calling in from all over. Isn't that wild when you actually think about it, that we can do a call and people from all over the world to just check in, to hear it out. It really is amazing. I've been stopped in the most random places all over the world, and they're like, "Yo, I know who you are, bro." And I'm like, "Me?" They're like, "Yeah, bro, I jump on your morning calls." And I've been in airports in Europe. I've been in cabs in Dallas. I've been all over the world. And for some reason, because we get a chance to do these calls every morning, I get recognized in places I would have never thought. So I'll be having to be on my best behavior everywhere I go, because I'm like, I don't want nobody to see and be like, "Yo, look, that's Nano," But it's awesome, though. It really is a blessing. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. We got Scotland in here as well. So that's awesome. All right, guys. So let's get started with today's training. I hope everybody got their pens and papers ready. We're going to take some notes. We got to really, right, catch me slipping. We're going to take some really good notes. So today, something I've been telling people, since it's the month of April's a month for awareness, right? So I want to make everybody aware of the things that are happening in their lives. Yesterday, I had a really good training with my private group. We have a private group Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And with that private group, we talked about awareness creates change. So we had a really, really good call on identifying blind spots and helping people unlock their growth. Today, I want to make you guys aware of time, the awareness of time. So that's our training for today, the awareness of time, which is urgency versus procrastination. Urgency versus procrastination. And what this training is going to help you guys out with is going to help you guys recognize where you're losing time, and it's going to help you guys shift from procrastinating, which is one of our worst habits that any of us can have, and to moving with urgency, because we're in a season of moving with urgency. That's it. There's no more time to chill. There's no more time to relax. There's no more days off. Like, at this very point in time, we got to be moving with extreme urgency towards what it is that we want. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about today the 4 ways on how you can start moving with more urgency versus procrastination. So if we're ready for that training, you guys are ready to take notes, you have turned off all your devices of distractions, you're ready to listen with the intention to apply, put a 444 in the chat box so we can get today's call started. All right. We got everybody here. We got we already have over 100 people live, and let's chop it up. And as you guys know, I always got my coffee here ready for me, because since I talk so much, sometimes my mouth gets dry, and I want to make sure I got the coffee in there. So let's get started with point number 1. I appreciate everybody here, and let's get to it, right? So let's go into number 1. Point number 1 when it comes to moving with more urgency versus procrastination. I want you guys to write this down. Time is either your biggest asset or your biggest liability. Time is either your biggest asset or your biggest liability. Can I get a facts in the chat real quick? Because for those that know what I'm saying here, this is facts, right? So can I get a facts in the chat, right? Time is either your biggest asset or it'll be your biggest liability. Now, Nano, why do you say that? Well, you got to think about this. Everybody has the same 24 hours. I have the same 24 hours as Rosie, as Regine, as Anaya, as Natasha, as Carmen, as Zion, as Callie, as Drew, as Shazir, as my brother. We all have the same 24 hours, every single one of us, right? But how you use them is what's going to determine your results. Okay, today, April 3rd, we all have the same exact 24 hours. But how we use them is going to determine who has the most productive day or not. Because you see, there's 2 different types of people. There's 2 different types of people. There's the people that see time and they take advantage of the time that they have. And then there's another one that sees the time and lets time pass. Remember, and I want you guys to write this down. And this is so important. When I learned this, it changed everything for me. My mentor once told me, he said, Nano, it's not about the time that you put in that determines your results. It's what you put into the time. I'm going to repeat that. It's not about the time that you put in that determines your results. It's what you put into the time. So explain that a little bit deeper, Nano. Well, let me break it down. It's not about the time that you put in. Explain that. Well, think about it. Somebody could put in 8 hours into something and still not be productive. So it's not about the time that you put in. It's what you put into the time. Are you being intentional with the 8 hours? Because there's people that may dedicate 8 hours to something and not be productive because they just put in the time. They just wanted to get by. But then there's somebody else that had the same 8 hours, but they were more intentional. They were more structured. They were more effective because they put in more intention to the time. So that is something that I want you guys all to understand. It's not about the hours that you put in. It's about what you put into the hours. Are you being intentional with everything that you're doing? Because two people can wake up at the same time and go to sleep at the same time, but one goes to sleep sad, stressed, and depressed because he or she wasn't productive, and then person B goes to sleep happy, excited, and blessed because he had just one of his most productive days. What's the difference? One took advantage of the time that he or she had, while the other one just let time pass. And this is important that we all understand, because I've been the person that didn't take advantage of my time. I remember when I was living in Washington Heights, New York City, before I even knew what personal development or even God was. And you know what I was doing? I was wasting time because I was somebody that was waking up at lunchtime. The first thing I would do is jump on Instagram. I would hit up my friends. Yo, what's up? Are we going to wake and bake? What's in the sky? Like that was, only if you guys knew Nano before this, like you guys wouldn't even believe it. What are we doing? I would go outside and I would spend my days smoking, gambling, talking on the block, literally doing nothing with my life. It is absolutely crazy. And I was being extremely unproductive. I was getting home at 2, 3 in the morning, staying up super late, doing absolutely nothing, Netflix binge watching, doing all these. Padrino loved it. And I remember sitting there, and when I look back, straight to the liquor store on lighted, cuz yeah, you already know G Hundo's here with me. And I remember those days, and I was extremely unproductive during those days in my life. Extremely unproductive. I still had the same 24 hours. And thank God, I got to give all the grace, all the praise, and all the glory to God, because thank God he blessed me with entrepreneurship, and he gave me an opportunity where I can change my life. Because man, God knows, I would probably still be in the same streets doing nothing with my life had I not been saved from that. And he introduced me to the idea of a morning routine. And thank God I started to wake up and focus on me. And now instead of waking up and the first thing was, hey, let's smoke and let's get high. Now it was, let's get up and let's pray to God. Let's give gratitude. Let's walk to the park. Let's meditate. Let's read. Let's journal. Let's write our goals down. Let's work out. Let's listen to positive music and positive audios. So these were the things that changed, because I had to change my approach. I had to change the way that I was moving, because I was going down the wrong path. So it's important that you guys realize that if you're not using your time like productively, it's your biggest liability. Because here's the thing about time. Time is your biggest asset. Everybody wants to make more money, but nobody's trying to leverage their time so much more. You see, time is the most valuable asset that we all have in life, because time is the only thing we can't get back. It's the only thing we can't get back. We could make money back. We could get all these things back that we so desire in our lives. We want cars, we want houses, we want all these things in life. We want more money, we want to travel more, all those things. But in reality, we can always get those things back. Time we can never get back. And we only have a limited resource, like Rack said in the chat. So we got to remember, we got to be using our time more properly. So here's a question I have for you guys. I want you to write down, what is one area in your life that's been delaying your success? What's been one area in your life that you've been procrastinating, that's been stealing your time? Because I know all of us right now on this call, we can all sit down and I want you to think about it. What's the first thing that comes to mind? What is one area in your life that is stealing your most precious asset? What's one area? Is it your job? Is it Netflix? Is it is it social media? Is it going out with your friends? What is stealing your most valuable asset? Because think about this. You can have money, but if you don't have time, you don't have nothing. You don't have nothing. Because look at the test. Look at how, I'm sure all of you guys have heard the test, right? Because let's say right now I would be like, yo, everybody on this call, we have over 140 people on today's call right now, currently live. If I was to ask all 140 of you guys, yo, I got $1 billion for you guys right now. I'm going to give you all $1 billion right now, but you can't wake up tomorrow. Will you take it? Yes or no? I'm going to give you $1 billion right now. Here, wired to your account. You got $1 billion. You're a billionaire, but you can't wake up tomorrow. Will you take it? Of course, we're all going to say no. Absolutely not. But why is that? Because we value our time and our presence on this earth a lot more. So we got to use the time. We got to use the time that we have a lot more effectively. And the thing is, procrastination is stealing our most valuable asset. Procrastination is stealing and robbing us of our most valuable asset, which is our time. So we got to find out the ways that we can get rid of that procrastination, because guess what? Procrastination has killed more dreams than you could ever imagine. Nano, what is procrastination? Well, procrastination in very simple terms is when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it. Procrastination is saying you're going to do something and not do it. Now, if we want to look up the exact definition of it, let's see what procrastination. Let's see what Google says about it. Procrastination, the action of delaying or postponing something, which is pretty self-explanatory. Here's another one. To keep delaying something that must be done, often because it is unpleasant or boring. Let me tell you guys right now, one of my biggest killers to my success, and that robbed me of the most time, that if I could go back and talk to that version of Nano and tell him like, yo, don't procrastinate. I could tell you guys right now, procrastination stole so much hours and days from me that I wish I could go back and just have a real conversation with that Nano and tell him, yo, Nano, move with urgency. This is your most valuable asset, because I can't go back and buy that time. That's the thing. I can only take advantage of what I do moving forward. I can't go back in time and tell Nano or buy that time back. Like, yo, Nano, you spent so much time doing this, doing that, doing this. You know how much time I spent doing things that were not productive? It's the most dangerous habit that anyone that is on this call can have. And you know what it is? We all have it. All of us. We are procrastinating on specific things right now at this very point in time that is holding us back from reaching our full potential. And let me tell you guys something, for my people who are believers. Remember, we got to use the time that we have on this earth wisely. Wisely. Because we're here to serve. We're here to impact. We're here to reach our full potential. So if we are not reaching our full potential, if we are not working towards becoming a better version of ourselves, then we are not being good servants. We're not being good servants of our time and what has been given to us. We're actually taking it for granted, which goes back to the story of the talents. We are the people. If you remember the story of the talents, we are the servant that was given one bag of gold, and 3 months passed, whatever months passed, and the master came back and asked, hey, what did you do with the one talent I gave you, the one bag of gold that I gave you? And you're saying, well, I dug it up, I waited till you got back, and I returned it to you safely and sound. And because of that, God took it away from you. God didn't bless you with what it is that you deserve, that you thought you deserved, because you haven't put the work in. You've been wasting time. You've been sleeping in. You've been procrastinating on whether you should go to the gym, on whether you should build that business, on whether you should post on social media. And the thing is, we all got to be moving with more urgency. Your life moving forward, starting in this second quarter of the year, we should be urgency over procrastination. Urgency over procrastination. Because the thing is, if we're not moving with urgency, then we're wasting time. And if we're wasting time, we're wasting our most valuable asset. And after studying and being in the right rooms, I started to ask a lot of millionaires and even billionaires this question. And a lot of the same, and you know what's funny? A lot of them have the same answer. And their answer always is, if only I had more time. They always told me that. Nano, if only I had more time. If only I had more time. They said, yo, I spent so many of my years early on wasting my time, not realizing that time was my most valuable asset. And they wish they can come back to the ages that we were at. They wish they can go back to when they were 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40, and so on and so forth. They wish they can go back to that time and just change and take advantage of the time, because they weren't moving with urgency. They were just slacking off. They were letting their problems get the best of them, because that's what happens with most people. It has happened to me. I've let my problems get the best of me. And you know what my problems do to me? They almost freeze me. I've been the person, and I don't know if anybody could relate, but if you're somebody that was like me, I used to let my problems freeze me. Instead of fuel me, they would freeze me. Nano, what do you mean? Well, things would happen in my life and I would freeze. It was like I didn't want to work on anything until my problems disappeared. I used to be like that. I used to be the person that my problems and the challenges and the things that I would go through in life, they would freeze, Nano. No action. I just wanted to be home all day. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't even want to post on Instagram. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to freeze. And I would just freeze. And my thing was, I just hope that time passes and my problems disappear. That was my idea. I'm like, yo, I'm just going to freeze. I'm not going to take no action. I'm not going to read. I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm just going to freeze and just pray and hope that this all goes away. And then when it goes away, maybe I'll go and take action. Have we been there before? Put a 2 in the chat if you relate with me a little bit, for anyone who's been there before. That used to be me. And I know that might sound crazy to some of you guys, because you guys see me today and I move with action and everything like that, but I wasn't always like that. My problems would freeze me. Like, yo, I'm telling you guys, like, no work. I was a couch potato, watching Netflix, binge watching, doing nothing. But you know what I realized was that this is why, and I love everybody, but this is why it bothers me and it frustrates me when I have mentees and people of mine that come to me and tell me, well, Nano, you know, I got to stop building my business. I got to stop doing this because I'm going through this. I need some time alone. I need some time. I need to get right. And I'm like, I know what you're going to do because I was you. You're not going to do anything. Like, stopping is not going to make it better. Since when is stopping ever going to make anything better? If anything, you got to keep going. The real thing is keep going, not stop, not make an excuse as to why, because you're going through something. Because the thing is, people don't understand that I've been through the same exact thing as them. So when they come to me and my mentees and people that I mentor tell me, Nano, I got to take a step back. I got to focus on me, man. I'm going through so much things. I feel for them and I understand where they're coming from. But the thing is that if they was really to go and focus on them, it would be a different story. They don't go and do that because in reality, the problems have froze them. Their problems freeze people. And I've seen it happen because it's happened to the best of us. Nowadays, when my problems come, they fuel me. I'm like, okay, I'm going through this. Say less. I'm waking up earlier tomorrow. I'm going to be even more intentional with my morning routine now. I'm going to read more. I'm going to get closer to God. I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to do what's required so that I can get through this problem. I'm going to journal every single day. I'm going to find out my problems now. I'm going to go to God. I'm going to talk to God. I'm going to read the word. I'm going to go to church. I'm a seek mentorship. How can I get through this problem a lot faster? How can I learn from this problem? That's how I change, because remember, there's two different things. There's called perspective and there's called perception. Write this down. There's a difference between perspective and perception. Perspective is what you see, right? Perspective is what you see. Perception is how you see it. Does that make sense? Perspective is what you see. Perception is how you see it. Remember, the same things happen to all of us. We all have the perspective of what we see. But what changes people and the ones who make it through or not are the ones who have the right perception. Because the same problems happen to all of us. The same problems happen to all of us, but it's how you're seeing it that's going to determine your success. Are you seeing it as a blessing? And as you seeing it as something that's going to make you better? Or are you seeing it as a problem that's there to destroy you and is there to make you worse? I started to change my perception. Now, every time something happens to me, any challenge, any problem, any obstacle, it's a blessing. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm journaling about it. I'm thanking God for it. I'm popping the champagne. Thank you so much. I'm grateful that I'm going through this. You know why? Because there's never been a problem. There's never been an obstacle that has came in my life that was there to make me worse. They were always there to make me better. So I started to realize that after going through so many problems, as you know, in entrepreneurship, we go through so much. I started to realize, I'm like, Nano, why do you stress and why do you get so down on yourself when you go through something, when you know that at the end of every single one of those things, there's always something good and positive about it? Why not go through that process and through that season of your life happy, excited, and looking forward for the journey and the lessons that are meant to be taught to you while you're going through that? I talked to myself and I started to realize, and I do my best for all of you guys that are on this call, to create the same perception as well. Whatever you're going through right now, whatever you're going to go through in the future, I want you guys to change the perception of how you're seeing it. This is a blessing. Even the things that you may think are not, they are. Change the way that you look at them, because remember, perception is going to determine your procrastination or your urgency. Because I'm able to look at it as a blessing, I still move. I don't freeze like I used to. I move now. I get to work. I'm up. I'm in the gym. I'm reading my books. I'm reading the word. I'm doing what I'm required, right? Because why? Because I'm looking at it from the right perspective. The right perception. But when I was looking at it as, damn, why am I going through this? Why me? This sucks. It's always me. I can't catch a break. When it rains, it pours. This. That perception of it would please me. And I wouldn't want to put the work in, which would stop my urgency. So number one, time is either your biggest asset or your biggest liability. Make sure that you're using your time wisely and that you're using it to go out there and build your life. Okay. Number two, the 3 traps of procrastination. I want you guys to write this down. There's 3 traps to procrastination. 3 traps. Number one is lack of Sorry, the ice popped in my mouth. The lack of clarity is number one. These are the three traps of procrastination. This is how you know if you're trapped or not. Number one is lack of clarity. When you don't know what to do next because you don't know where you're going. That's one of the reasons why people procrastinate. Nano, I don't even know what I want. I don't even know what I want to do with my life. I don't even know what the next step is in my journey. I could tell you that was one of my traps when I didn't know what I wanted. Let me tell you something. If you're on this call right now, we have close to 200 people on this call right now. If you don't know what you want in life right now, and if you're not clear, here's my best advice for all 200 of you that are on this call. Just make yourself the focus. You're lacking clarity? Here's what I'm going to tell you. Focus on you. That's your clarity right there. I need to focus on me. I need to spend time every day with me. The rest will figure itself out. You'll find what you want to do once you start focusing on you. Because remember, all the answers are within you. You just haven't grown the awareness on what it is exactly that you want. So my best advice for anybody that's on this call that may have a lack of clarity on what they want to do with their life, on what they want to do with their career, on what their purpose is. If that's you and you're on this call and you feel that, I want you to focus on you until the focus is on you. Focus on you. Spend time every day with yourself. Spend days and days and days, 7 days a week with yourself. Have quiet time with yourself. Go find a great book to read. Start meditating. Buy a journal. Listen to positive podcasts and audio. Start going to the gym. Start putting time into you and watch what will happen. Naturally, the doors will start opening up. They'll start saying, yo, you need to do this. You need to start this business. You need to start doing more of this. And things will change. So the number one trap of procrastination is lack of clarity. Number two, another trap is comfort over growth. Comfort over growth. We got to remember, our mind defaults to what's easy, avoiding what's necessary. A lot of us were too stuck in our comfort zones. We're so comfortable where we are. We're so comfortable with waking up at a specific time. We're so comfortable with not having to do specific actions on a day-to-day basis. We are comfortable. That's a trap. Every day, you guys should be doing things that make you uncomfortable. If you woke up today at a comfortable time, you're comfortable. Call it what it is. If you're still getting in your car and you're still listening to music over audios and podcasts, you're comfortable. If you're not doing things that make you uncomfortable, you're not growing, guys. Let me tell you that. Let me be the first to tell you on this call. If no one has told you, if you're not uncomfortable every day, you're staying the same. You're not growing. And time is just passing every single day. If you're comfortable right now, you are not growing. You are not going. You're not growing at all. You're literally staying the same. You have to grow. You have to get uncomfortable. The only way you're going to grow is if you get uncomfortable. I started going to the gym. That made me uncomfortable. I started waking up early. That made me uncomfortable. Guess what? I started reading the word, reading the Bible, all of that stuff. At some point, that was uncomfortable for me. Now I love it. I posted it this morning. I'm like, yo, I love reading the Bible. But before, reading the Bible was uncomfortable for me. That used to be so uncomfortable for me. Going to the gym was extremely uncomfortable for me. Waking up early was uncomfortable for me. Putting my face on camera was extremely uncomfortable for me. Meeting people and talking to people about what I did was extremely uncomfortable for me. But it's funny because now the things that was once uncomfortable for me are the natural for me. Now it's easy for me to wake up. Now I love going to the gym. Now I love doing all these things. Now I love going to networking events. You know, somebody told me the other day, yo, Nano, you know, you live in Miami, bro. I know you be outside, you be partying, you know, I know you be out there. And I'm like, complete opposite, bro. I am outside, but I'm outside networking. I'm outside shaking hands. I'm outside, you know, connecting with millionaires. I'm not outside partying, drinking, smoking on the weekends, bro. I'm at networking events 4 to 5 times a month. I'm shaking hands. I'm going to events. I'm talking to people. I'm connecting with people. I met Patrick Brett David the other day. I met Ray Lewis the other day. I'm in big rooms where there's multi-millionaires, talking to them, shaking their hand, telling them my story, seeing how I could bring value to them. I'm going up to people. Tell you guys a funny story. The other day I met Ray Lewis. For those who don't know who Ray Lewis is a Hall of Fame NFL player. One of the most, if you know Ray Lewis, you know who he is. But if you don't, you probably seen him. You know, he's all over ESPN, the whole nine. And I went to one of my boys, one of my friends' birthday parties. He's one of the best to ever do it. So I see Ray Lewis get there, and I'm like, oh, yo, Ray Lewis is here. This is awesome. I've never seen Ray Lewis in person. You know, and if you grew up, you know who he is. So he's outside, and they're smoking a cigar. And they're smoking Dominican cigars. So, you know, me being the man that I am, I have no shame. I have no shame at all. So I see them smoking a cigar, and I'm like, yo, you guys got one for me? So there's like 3 of them in a group, and they're like passing out cigars. And you know me having no shame at all. I'm like, yo, you guys got one for me? I'm one of the Dominican brothers here. They're like, yeah, we actually got one more. Boom. He pops it out. He gives it to me. I introduce myself, and I go to Ray. I'm like, yo, Ray. And I introduce myself, and I'm like, what's up, Ray? My name is Nano. It's a pleasure to meet you. And yo, the way Ray Lewis shake my hand, remember, this guy is a football player, decorated Hall of Famer, huge. Bro, the way he shook my hand, like you ever shake someone's hand and they shake your hand, and it almost feels like, you know, it was a huge hand that just squeezed the hell out of you. And I went hard at him. You know, I went at him like, because I knew he was going to give me a firm handshake. And, you know, I joked with him after he shook my hand. I'm like, wow, bro, that was a very firm handshake. He was like, and then you know what he said? He said, let me tell you a story that my grandfather taught me. And he starts talking to me naturally, like, because I laughed. I'm like, yo, that was a firm ass handshake, bro. That was a really good one. And he was like, yo, this was something my grandfather taught me when I was 10 years old, and I never, ever forgot it. And he starts telling me about a story about how he used to have a very weak handshake. And one time his grandfather checked him on it. He was like, as a man, you have to leave an impression every time you meet someone. And the way to do that is you got to have a very firm handshake every time you shake a man's hand, and you got to have laser eye contact when you shake that person's hand. Because if that other person is successful and they know what they want in life, okay, they're going to know whether you're confident or not based off of your handshake. So every time you shake someone's hand, make sure you shake it, make sure that it's firm, and make sure that you give that person laser eye contact. Don't break. And he was like, when you do that, you will always leave an impression on people that you meet for the first time. And he was like, I left an impression on you with my handshake, right? I'm like, yeah, you did for sure, 100%. He was like, I want you to start doing that wherever you go. And we started talking more, whatever it was. But that was such a valuable, but such a simple lesson that so many people don't do. I've met many people in my life that they shake my hand and they're just like, and they just kind of shake my hand like this, or it's not and there's nothing to remember there because you just know. But when somebody shakes your hand and they're firm and they have authority and they give you that laser eye contact, it was game changing. It's game changing. So just something to think about, right? But look, and it goes back to what we're talking about. You know, I know I went a little bit off topic, but it goes back to what I'm talking about. I like to be in rooms where I'm uncomfortable. I have no shame. I'm here to network. I'm here to talk to people. I'm here to get to know people. Before, you know who Nano was? Nano was the guy who would grab a drink and just sit in the corner and wait for time to pass. And if you didn't come to me, I wouldn't talk to you. That used to be Nano because I was scared to talk to people. I was scared to network with people. I was scared to introduce myself. Now I'm the one bumping into circles like, hey, what's up, guys? My name is Nano. So nice to meet you guys. You know, I'm a digital entrepreneur and I'm a public speaker. I'm also a podcast host. So if you guys need anything, plug in with me. Yo, let's connect. Give me your Instagram. That's how it is. I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to everybody and everybody. But why do I say that? Because I had to get uncomfortable. I was like, if I want more people to know who Nano is, I need to go shake hands. If I want to get better with myself, I need to get in the gym. I can't keep making the excuse that I don't like to read books. I need to learn how to read. I gotta read these books. I used to think journaling, believe it or not, I used to think journaling and like having a diary was only for girls. That's how we were raised. So I used to think, why would I journal? Why would a guy journal his thoughts, his emotions, or these things? I used to think that was only something that girls did when they wrote in their diary. But then I grew up and I realized that the most successful people journal their thoughts and their emotions and how they feel, and they create their life through writing. I'm like, even though I don't want to do this, even though I don't want to feel like I'm back at school, I need to start journaling. Guys, I think I've already reached over 11 of these journals right here. I've created journals, and I've been the one who has journaled for real. Like, look, guys, like all my journals are filled to the top. They're filled to the top. I write. I even get personal with it. I talk about all these things. I've burned the pages in the corner, getting rid of things that, I did, and forgiving myself and all that stuff. Like, bro, I had to do so much things to get uncomfortable. I had to do so much things to get uncomfortable. My whole house is filled with books. Why? Because I had to get uncomfortable. So why am I saying that? Because if you're comfortable where you are right now, you're not growing. My biggest growth came from doing the things that made me uncomfortable. Waking up earlier, going to the gym, reading, meditating, doing all of those things. Doing all those things were the things that made me grow. Had I not started waking up earlier, had I not started reading the Bible, had I not started doing all these things, I would have never became the man that I am today. Look, right now, I'm in probably the best physical shape that I've been in over the last 5 years. But you know what I had to do? I had to get uncomfortable. I had to get extremely uncomfortable for that. I had to work out more. I had to hire a trainer. I had to do all these things. The knowledge I have today, it was because I got extremely uncomfortable. The relationship I got with God today is because I got extremely uncomfortable. You know how good it feels now that I know that I've read the book of Job, I've read the book of Proverbs, I've read Psalms, I've read Matthew, I'm reading John, I read Ecclesiastes, something like that. I have a problem pronouncing that one, but I've read that one. It feels so good to know that I've read all these stories in the Bible now. It feels so good, and to know that I know all these parables and all these different stories, and I'm learning more about God's life and how everything worked. Like it feels so good. But had I never got uncomfortable and opened it up, I would never know. I would never know the words. I would never know the weapons that I have. Right. So you guys got to get uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. So that's number 2. That's the second trap of procrastination. And then the third one, which is a big one, which is overthinking and perfectionism. Waiting for things to be perfect leads to inaction. Everybody always says, hey, when this is right, when this is in alignment, when I have this much money, when this person this, when that person that, I'll do this. And we overthink so much. I've been a huge overthinker in the past. Put a 3 in the chat box if you've been an overthinker at some point, or if you still are. Anybody else overthinkers? And then I learned this. 90% about what we overthink never comes true anyways. Isn't that crazy? 90% of what we overthink never comes true anyways. So we spend all this time overthinking, but 90% of it never ever comes true anyways. Those are the 3 things that are killing your progress right now. Those are the 3 things right there, the 3 traps, which is lack of clarity, your comfort over growth, and your overthinking and perfectionism. Those are the 3 things that are trapping you. And you know what? I can tell you guys something right now. At one point in my life, all 3 of those things were traps in my life. I had no clarity. I was choosing comfort over growth, and I was overthinking a lot. And you know what, guys? Let me tell you something. If only you knew how many people in this world are trapped by those three traps right there. My friends and people that I grew up with and people I went to school with, they're all living by those traps. They have no clarity. They cannot tell you what they want. Number 2, they're comfortable. They're just waking up, going to work, getting home, chilling, smoking, doing their thing, Netflix, going to bed, waking up and doing it again. And they overthink. Oh, I don't know if this is going to work on this. I don't know if this is going to work for me. I know people living off of all three traps, and those three traps are killing people. They're killing people's dreams. They're killing people's purposes. They're killing people's everything. Remember, there's a saying that says people die at the age of 25 and they don't get buried till they're 25. Isn't that crazy when you hear that? People die at 25, but don't get buried till they're 65, 75. And why do they say that? Because most people's dreams die by the age of 25. They already gave up. So that's it. There's nothing to live for. You're just living to live. If you're not waking up every day excited, filled with purpose and passion to do something you love, guys, it's time to get on the track towards that. God wants you to fulfill your purpose. God wants you to live up to your full potential. You should be waking up happy, excited, blessed, abundant, joyful every day that you get to wake up and work on yourself and become a better version of you. Nobody here should be waking up sad, stressed, and depressed. You shouldn't. But some of you guys will be like, well, Neno, you don't understand, bro. I'm going through this. No, the thing is, I do understand. Trust me. And because I understand, I'm telling you, you shouldn't be waking up like that. Because you're trapped. You're trapped. And you don't even know it. You're in a jail in your mind and you don't even recognize it. I've been there before. Let go of these traps. These traps are destroying you. They're destroying your families and they're destroying generations to come. That's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants you to buy into his mentality, into the procrastination. That's what the enemy wants. God wants you to strive, to grow, to impact, to inspire, to grow. That's what God wants. So those are the three traps. Now, let's go to point number 3. Remember, urgency is a mindset, not a deadline. Urgency is a mindset, not a deadline. Right? Because think about it. Many people only act with urgency when there's pressure. For example, deadlines, bills due, rank deadlines, a lot of different things. How many of us have ever had to pay bills that were coming up and you had to move with urgency to make sure you paid that bill? I've been there before. Yo, urgency. I got to get this bill paid. Let's go. You do whatever it takes to make sure that you get the money that you need for the beginning of the month. It's a mindset. Realize how some of us, we had more urgency towards paying our bills, but we don't have that urgency towards our goals. Have you guys realized that? Sometimes we move with more urgency for our bills more than our own goals. Imagine if you had that urgency for your goals. Yo, I got to get this goal. I got to go hit this goal. I got to call this many people. I got to study these many hours. I got to do this, and that. The most successful people, they manufacture urgency daily. They don't wait for pressure. You can't wait for pressure, guys. You got to be moving every day like if it's your last day. You can't wait for pressure to come. That used to be another thing I used to do. I used to wait for pressure to come so I could start moving. No, you got to move every day like there's pressure. You know what? You guys may call me crazy, but I create pressure in my mind. Yo, I got to retire my family. I got to buy mom and dad that house that I promised them. I got to move with urgency every day. I create pressure in my mind because sometimes there is no pressure. So I create pressure. In my mind, I just convince myself of a story of something. You know, there's times that I get myself mad because anger is a good thing. Anger is a great thing if you know how to use it, if you know how to channel it. Sometimes I get myself mad. Oh, all right. They don't think I'm the best. Bet. Watch what I'm going to do now. Yo, I'm telling you, there's been so many times that I've had to create scenarios in my mind to force myself to pressure, to anger, to get myself to move. Because sometimes things in life are just flowing in, and there I am, convincing myself. Wait, he said what? All right, watch what I'm gonna do. I would convince myself. And you know who does that too? I don't know if you guys have ever watched The Last Dance, the documentary on Michael Jordan on Netflix. That's personal development for me. If you've never watched it, say no more, bet. If you ever watched it, he would do that. He would literally do that. He would literally convince himself that somebody said something on an interview or somebody said something to him on the court, and he would literally convince himself, like, all right, bet he said this, let me show him. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him on the court. Sometimes you can't wait for pressure to come. You got to create it yourself so that you can move with urgency. Okay, people think I'm not gonna. I used to do it all the time, especially when I was living in Washington Heights, when I was living back in my neighborhood. Because here's the thing: when people don't believe that you're gonna be successful, yeah, Kobe did the same thing. People don't believe that you're gonna be successful until you leave, your environment. So I would, people didn't believe that Nano was gonna make it. I used to tell people, yo, we're gonna travel the world, and I'm gonna make this amount of money. And people would laugh at me like, yo, Nano, be realistic, bro. Pass the blunt, man. Stop talking. Like, people would laugh at me and call me crazy and think that I was wrong. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna be a millionaire, bro. I'm telling you, we're gonna travel the world. We're gonna live on, we're gonna live in penthouses. We're gonna retire our families. And people would laugh at me. People would think I was crazy. Watch, bro. One day I'm gonna inspire millions of people, bro. And people would laugh at me like, yo, I love that you dream big, bro. Ha 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 ha. And I used to go home and I used to be like, all right, watch. People don't believe. Even my mom. Yo, mom, I'm gonna buy you a house one day. I see, papi, que si Dios quiere, vamos a ver, we're gonna see. I used to be like, all right, bet. I'm gonna be up even earlier tomorrow. I'm gonna be even more intentional tomorrow. I'm gonna go even harder in the gym tomorrow. I used to use that as fuel. I used to use it as fuel. Okay, y'all not gonna believe me? Bet. Y'all don't want to trust me? Bet. Bet. I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna outwork everybody. You working hard, I'm gonna work harder than you. That's how I was. I was low-key psycho when it came to that, because I used to literally convince myself that people around me didn't believe in me, and which they didn't. And I used to use that as so much fuel, and I used to turn that anger into passion. They're gonna believe me one day. One day they're gonna see. Look, I got one of my brothers on this call, actually, my brother Parra. We went to school together. He was my roommate my second year. And he used to always tell me, he was like, bro, you're crazy. He used to always tell me, he used to be like, yo, bro, you work so hard. Because I was always the one waking up the earliest. He was my college teammate, so he saw it firsthand. I was always the one working harder than everybody. I used to do this back in high school and in college too as well. I used to outwork. The gym session was over, I'm staying 20, 30 minutes after to work even harder. I'm the first one on the field, last one off the field. Like, I was always that person because I wanted to work the hardest. And I'm telling you guys, this is the mindset that I want you guys to embody. Move with urgency. Move with urgency. And here's how you want to do it. Set goals for yourself. What are you going to accomplish today in the next 24 hours? This is something that is important. His nickname was the Futurao. Facts. I remember that. And look at this, guys. You got to set deadlines for yourself. Give yourself 24-hour goals instead of monthly ones. Some of us always want these major goals. We have these big goals, but we can't even hit the small ones. Yo, teach yourself how to do the small ones first. Yo, set a goal. What are you going to do today? I remember, you know what my goals used to be back then? Read 10 minutes. Read 10 pages a day, meditate for 10 minutes, and journal for 10 minutes. That's it. Those were my main goals. Those were my daily goals. Can I do those 3 things? I would set little micro goals that would stop me from procrastinating. You know what also helps with the lack of procrastination? Having an accountability partner. But you got to have an accountability partner that is like real deal Holyfield. Like he's the real deal. Like not no lazy accountability partners. I've had lazy accountability partners. I need you to have an accountability partner that is better than you, that's more disciplined than you, that's more consistent than you, and that's annoying. That's gonna check you on a daily. Like, yo, did you wake up on time today? Because he was up. Yo, did you do your morning routine today? Because he's doing it. Like, get somebody that's extremely uncomfortable for you. Somebody that's gonna check you, somebody that's gonna, when you give them excuses, they're gonna smack your excuses out the way. Because that's the thing. We love to make excuses. Oh, nah, I couldn't do it. There's no excuses. It's either you did it or you didn't do it. That's it. I don't want to hear no excuses. Did you do it? Did you wake up on time? No? Okay, we got to get better tomorrow. Get yourself a good accountability partner. That'll increase your urgency. I have really good accountability partners. Really good accountability partners. And you got to be ready for it. And you know what? Sometimes I hate my accountability partner, to be honest. Sucks so much because they're telling me what I need to hear, but sometimes you don't want to hear, but you do need to hear it. Like, yo, Nano, you told us to do this and you're not doing it. So, like, what do you expect? You know, like, Nano, what's up? You didn't wake up today. What happened? And I'm like, you're right, but I don't want to hear it. But you got to hear it because you're slacking off. You know, like you need somebody to check you. And guess what? If they hold you accountable enough, you don't want them to hold you accountable anymore. So you start doing what you're supposed to do. And then instead, you start actually holding them accountable. You know when you're getting good, when you can hold your accountability partner accountable. That's when you know you can hold people accountable. That's when you know you're getting good. When you can hold your accountability partner now accountable. When you're calling them like, yo, where you at? Yo, did you read? Are you at church? Like, that's when you know it's getting good. So set a goal. What are you going to do today in the next 24 hours? What's one goal you want to hit today? Let's not talk about what we're going to do by the summer, what we're going to do by December. Let's not talk about any of that. I want to know what we're going to do in the next 24 hours that's going to help us be successful. I want to know. That's number 3, which is urgency is not a mindset. It's a deadline. Remember what I've also talked about here, and I just need 5 more minutes and I'm done with you guys. Remember, we are in the golden months. These are the months to plant seeds. Are you going to plant more seeds than me? Or are you just going to chill and watch everybody else plant seeds? What are you going to do now? I love that, OG Shine. Adapt to the now mentality. What are you going to do now? How many seeds are you going to plant today? Because remember, guys, these calls right here, these are action. These are active calls. These are not productive calls. These are what we call active. These are calls that are needed, but they don't create results. You need these calls to go and be productive now. So I need you guys to use these calls and tell yourself, you know what? I'm going to go take action. I'm going to go be productive. There we go. Hitting the gym, training for 2 races now. Somebody said they're going to read. They're going to gym. They're going to get someone started in their business. That's beautiful. You know what that's called? That's called planting seeds, Zion. Right? Make 10 plus calls, get 3 new appointments on the calendar and run 4 miles at night. You know what that's called, Rax? That's called being productive. That's a daily goal. Model citizens, talk to 5 to 10 people today and find an accountability partner. That's a goal. Go get it done. That's the now mentality. You know what? You do that today. Guess what? Then again, you do it again tomorrow. You do it again the next day. Then you do it next week. Next thing you know, now your goals are starting to grow. Now your goals are starting to get better. Now you have more goals that you're hitting. 50 new messages a day in my business. Let's go get it done. Don't go to sleep until those 50 are sent. Bria, join a fitness group with friends. Make sure that gets done today. Isabella, become a yoga instructor. I don't know if you're going to do it today, if that's the goal, but I need something done in the next 24 hours. So whether that's putting an application somewhere, whatever it is, let's set goals that we can do today. Let's move with urgency. Let's move with urgency. Make 30 calls to set appointments to invite to the opportunity call. That's an amazing goal. That's an amazing goal. And remember, guys, this is what I always tell people. Remember, you're the one playing your game. So always play the game to win. Never play the game to lose. Don't set some goal that you know you're not going to hit. Set a goal that you know that you're going to hit that's going to make you feel good. That was something my mentor told me. Because I asked him, he asked me, no, what's your goal for today? And I had told him this crazy ass goal. He was like, no, come on, bro. Like, I love that. I love how ambitious you are, bro. I remember him telling me, like, yo, I love how ambitious you are and how much you want things. But Nano, he was like, Nano, you're setting yourself up to lose. He was like, bro, play the game to win. You want to collect wins. What are 3 things that you can do today that you know you can do for sure that you're going to win at? And that's when he taught me, Nano, set up the game to win, not to lose. Collect wins. Forget about doing the impossible. Focus on the small little things that you could do every day that's going to help you build your confidence, that's going to help you build your belief, that's going to help you build yourself up day to day. Stop setting yourself up to lose. Set up goals that are achievable for you. And then as you get better at hitting the smaller goals, you set bigger ones. But until you don't get good at hitting the small ones, don't try to set big ones. I used to be the one that used to try to set big goals right away. And OJ Shine, you crazy because, that's point number 4. That's point number 4 that I'm going to finish up right here, which is the 80-20 rule. Focus on high value action. That's number 4. So real quick from the top, the 4 keys to having more urgency over procrastination. Number 1 is time is either your biggest asset or your biggest liability. And then we'll finish up. Are we all good? Can you guys still hear me? Let me know in the chat that we're all good still. I don't know why it froze. Okay, we're good. It's back. All right, so let's finish up here because I guess YouTube doesn't want me to be on for this long. Maybe I've been on for too long. And then the last point we made was the 80-20 rule, which is focus on high value actions, which basically states that you got to focus on the 20% of activities that create the 80% of the results. Focus on 20% of activities, the most important 20% that create 80% of the results. So in reality, guys, there's only a small amount of things. There's only a small amount of things that you got to do every day that are going to produce 80% of the results. That's what I want you guys to focus on because that's really the key right there. If you can focus on that, everything else will take care of itself. Focus, what are 20% of activities that you could do? And a lot of that includes very simple activities, things like your morning routine. If you're in a business that requires you to do sales, prospecting, making phone calls, closing deals, posting on social media, studying, all these different things, whatever it is, based off of what you do, find out what are the 20%, the most important activities that you could do on a day-to-day basis that's going to produce 80% of the results. And that's going to be the key to everything for each and every single one of you guys right there. So those are the 4 keys, the 4 ways that you guys can start using urgency versus procrastination. Put a 4 in the chat box if you guys got value from today's call, right? Put a 444 in the chat box if you guys are able to get value and you guys were able to get those, right? Because this is what it's all about. It's about us moving with more urgency all of 2025. Like if you weren't moving with urgency in January, February, and March, put that behind you. Was good, Eddie. It's nice to see you, bro. Put that behind you and let's focus on moving with urgency for all of April, all of May, and all of June. Let's move with urgency for the rest of the year, right? So if I can count on you to start moving with urgency for the rest of the year, can we type urgency in the chat box if I can count on you guys to start moving with urgency for the rest of the year? Let me put urgency in the chat as well myself. Urgency. Urgency. All right, guys. So with that being said, that wraps up today's call. I did go a little bit over, but it was a phenomenal call. I'm glad that I got a chance to really, pour into you guys and give you guys perspective and make you guys realize that you guys are not alone. I've also made those mistakes. I've also been comfortable. I've also procrastinated and overthinked and all those great things. But I want you guys to know that today I move with so much urgency. I am in a so much better place. I live uncomfortable. Still to this day, I'm finding ways to get uncomfortable because I understand that procrastination is not going to get me anywhere. Telling myself and delaying things that I know I should be doing is only holding me back, is destroying my biggest asset, which is time. Instead, I move with urgency every day because urgency is my biggest asset. This is what's going to help me allow myself to create the most success for myself and for those around me, fam. So I appreciate you guys so much for hopping on today's call. As you guys know, I'm live every Tuesday and Thursday on Instagram and on YouTube at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's 9:30 Central and 7:30 Pacific time. These calls are absolutely free. If you guys want to connect with me outside of here, follow me on Instagram at Long Live Nano. I also have a podcast that's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on iHeartRadio, Amazon, and all these different platforms as well. You can find me on Google. You can search for me, and you guys can listen to some more of my stuff on that as well. But with that being said, guys, that is today's training. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Take a chance to subscribe. Turn on the post notifications so that you know when I'm live as well. And then also as well, take a like into the video, like this video, leave a comment if you can, and then I'll do a little prayer for anyone that wants to stay on the call and allow me to pray over them. So just a quick prayer. I'm going to just practice some gratitude this morning and just thank God for it all, right, guys? So just some gratitude real quick. First off, I want to say thank you so much, God, for allowing us to wake up on this beautiful Thursday morning. We are also grateful for the amazing lessons that you continue to teach us so that we can become better versions of ourselves. So today, we don't want to ask for anything. We just want to say thank you for our health. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your protection. Thank you for creating a community that we can hold each other accountable and grow together and become better versions of ourselves. Thank you for our families. Thank you for protecting us. Thank you for eliminating all the things in our lives that aren't serving us and only focusing on the things that are going to make us better. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your grace. Thank you, thank you, thank you for it all, God. We are all extremely grateful for what you're doing for us. And we want to say thank you ahead of time for all the amazing things that you're going to do for us in the future. We're grateful for the challenges and we're thankful for everything that you're doing for us. So with that being said, on behalf of the whole entire community, we just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for it all. We love you. We appreciate you. We give you all the glory and all the praise. And in your name we pray. Amen, amen, amen. All right, guys. So with that being said, just type a thank you and amen. Because in reality, sometimes we don't really need to have to ask for anything. We just need to thank God for everything that we do have. And I pray that you guys are all protected and guided in many ways than one. All right, fam. So I love y'all. I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday. God bless.